This is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life for one last scare. One last scare. One last scare.
Welcome to the Last Scare podcast, a home for horror nerds to fly solo and gush about one's favorite feel-good genre. My name is Cam, and tonight I was supposed to be joined by my faithful co-host, Jayla, so here's the thing. I live out in the country, and there's this well, and Jayla fell in the well. And you would think, okay, that's a pretty easy fix. All you have to do is roll the rope up. But the thing is, Jayla is a full human being and weighs more than a bucket of water. So when I tried to crank it, the rope just snapped and she's stuck down there. And so we've got the volunteer fire department out here because they're like big burly dudes who deal with this kind of stuff. But they don't work past dark. So they went home for the night, so we're hoping to see her again tomorrow. Anyway, you're stuck with me for the night. Thanks for being here. Let's have a good time. I'm going to talk about two PG-13 horror movies tonight, A Haunting in Venice and It Lives Inside. So I'm going to start out with A Haunting in Venice, but first I will talk about a little news story. Akela Cooper, acclaimed screenwriter of *Malignant* and *Megan*, has been hired to adapt the screenplay for a 29-page short story called It's Over, and it's about breakups. I'm excited for that. I think breakups are one of the worst situations to have to deal with. They're just fucking miserable. So I'm excited for that because I love the movie *Malignant*. I love Megan. Akela Cooper has this really good sense of humor in her writing, and she can also deliver scares really well, at least on the page. And you might ask, okay, where can I read this short story? And the answer is, you can't. It's not published. I don't know how an unpublished short story gets movie rights sold already, but that is going to be in the works now that the writer's strike is over. So keep doing you, Akela Cooper. So first tonight, Jayla says it's dark down here. Yeah. Luckily, she still has cell service down in the well. It's pretty rough for her down there. She's crying a lot. So the other night, we did go see A Haunting in Venice, which is actually the third movie in a series of murder mysteries directed by and starring Kenneth Branagh as Hercule Poirot. And out of the three, this is the first one to go horror. Before, they've all just been straightforward murder mysteries. And so I was really excited to see this one take a different route as far as the tone of the storytelling goes, because I'm actually a fan of the first movie, Murder on the Orient Express. The second one was called Death on the Nile. I don't like that one as much. We pre-recorded this segment the other night right after we saw it because we didn't bring our notebooks in like we normally do. We usually take notes in the theater, but we wanted to just enjoy ourselves. So here is our raw, unfiltered, it's actually edited, but more or less just loosey-goosey gushing, if you will, about this movie.
I had thoughts throughout, and I actually wished I had my notebook.
Really?
Yeah, pretty early on.
That's really interesting.
Because there were a lot of details at the beginning that I was like, oh man, I wish I could write this down, and the details kept adding up. And I was like, oh, maybe we'll have to go see it again.
I felt so bad when Jayla, I waved my hand in front of you. I was like, fuck.
You were like, I was awake the whole time. I was like, I was waving my hand in front of your face and you weren't reacting
Yeah,
at all.
I know. That's the moment I was like, fuck.
I call you out on your bullshit a lot, Jayla.
I call you on your bullshit too.
So, there's a line early on in the movie and someone saying, scary stories make life less scary.
I remember that.
So I sort of think this movie is...
I'm going to be real honest with you. Don't laugh at me. Promise?
No.
You promise me?
I do not promise whatsoever.
No, promise me at least a little bit. No judgment.
I will not laugh for 5 seconds. I will give myself a 5-second embargo on laughing after you finish.
I don't even remember the fucking killer.
Yeah, you were sleeping during that part.
I know! am mad about it.
It was...
No, don't tell me.
Are you gonna watch it again?
Yes.
When? Because I'm not.
I can watch it again before Tuesday. I can watch a movie by myself.
We both used to do that, didn't we?
Yeah, I can watch a movie on my lonesome without being distracted.
I haven't done that since last summer.
I know.
I haven't done that since the month before I met you.
I don't need a babysitter to make sure I pay attention to the movie.
The month before I met you, I saw Top Gun Maverick and Everything Everywhere All at Once, both for the first time on the same day.
I'm pretty sure the last movie I saw by myself before I met you was Men.
Hot take, I'm pretty sure I like Men, the movie.
I know you do.
It's gross, and it's got subtext. I don't think it's completely vapid. I think it's maybe just not all there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, like, shallow, though. It is weird that it was written and directed by a man. Anyway, I gotta get my Haunting in Venice thoughts out.
Yes, please do, Angel.
Yeah, so it's kind of a horror movie, and it's sort of a love letter to horror movies, I think.
Right.
It's still very much a murder mystery whodunit. There's even a line in there that is very funny. Probably one of the only, like, laugh out loud moments. Most of the jokes were sort of just, like, slightly exhale out of your nose jokes. This one was just really lacking kind of the fun of the other two. Mm-hmm. Even Death on the Nile, which is really not like my favorite movie at all. I probably won't watch that movie again.
Thank you for watching it with me.
You're welcome. And I enjoyed watching Murder on the Orient Express again this week for the first time in 5 years, but wasn't the same. For me, I know you like rewatching whodunit, so you can go back and see the clues and stuff, but it's pretty sad. Knives Out didn't hold up for me when I watched it a second time.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Knowing the whodunit, I was just like kind of just not rocking with it. That was one of 3 movies I saw in 2020 before theaters shut down. I saw Knives Out, Birds of Prey, and 1917.
Oh, I love you so much.
1917 is great, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw The Invisible Man. And
oh yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, I
still haven't watched it.
I saw Invisible Man, I saw Birds of Prey, and I saw Unhinged. So, not really the same level, but a lot of fun. Unhinged is a wild movie. I do not, to this day, I struggle to comprehend how Unhinged was made. On some degrees. Like, I know, like, Russell Crowe is probably like, oh, I'll take a paycheck. But Unhinged, the man is unhinged. Truly.
I would say, back to Haunting in Venice,
yes.
I don't think the characters were particularly interesting.
Mm.
Tina Fey is an evil writer woman. She's basically her same character from Only Murders in the Building.
What I enjoyed so much about Tina Fey in this was how easily identifiable she was.
Yeah, I mean, she still has, like, that charm. We still like her from other things.
Like, sassy. She's Tina Fey sassy, though.
Yeah. Hercule Poirot was just kind of sad in this one.
Yeah.
And he had been really fun before.
He's going through his post-Empire moment real quick.
Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah. He's just going through it right now.
You mean like the support group in Endgame with Captain and Joe Russo or Anthony Russo, whichever one it is.
Yeah. It was Anthony, I'm pretty sure.
Looking at them, I want to say that was Anthony and Joe is the other one.
Yeah.
With glasses.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's the opposite.
I feel like it was Anthony in my bones, though.
I'm going to look it up right now.
I love that we voice record ourselves sometimes because, I don't know.
Yeah, I was right. They're switched.
Fuck.
Yeah. Joe Russo
Can I be right one time, damn it?
And I think it's wrong, too. I think their names should be swapped. He looks like a Joe and the other one looks like Anthony.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Thank you. There's something about Tina Fey that's so Tina Fey. It just jumps out at me. I watched SNL Hardcore, and also I remember watching Mean Girls growing up.
Oh my God, Mean Girls is probably Tina Fey's greatest work.
Mean Girls is like it's a huge fundamental part of my childhood and growing up.
It's actually easily her best work.
So
like there's no question.
And beyond Mean Girls, I remember watching Baby Mama with Amy.
I've never watched that one.
That was a movie me and my mom bonded over.
I might cut this recording up and turn it into a pre-recorded segment and just kind of stick it in the show.
Why not?
Because I feel like I'm not gonna have much to say.
You have full permission to expose me for falling asleep tonight. I was a sleepy gal tonight.
Have you seen your texts?
What? What do you mean by that? Did you text me during the movie? No, I feel stressed again.
Okay, narrate what you're seeing for the audio recording.
I see Cam. I have an otter next to Cam's name.
What are you laughing about, Jayla?
Cam took a picture of me passed out. I am knocked out. I'm done. Like, he exposed me to the last year group chat, and he goes, ugh, Haunting in Venice was boring. Oh my God, I was so knocked out.
Oh, so by the way, the two people on the other side of me were asleep at the end of the movie. And I made eye contact with the guy way at the other end of the row, and he was laughing about his people, and then I pointed to you, and then we were both laughing about, and we both were like holding 3 fingers up. We were both like 3. And then I turned around to the row behind us. I was like, hey, we got 3 people asleep on this row. Did y'all fall asleep? And I think one of them was asleep. I think one of them fell asleep and the other one was fighting it.
So glad you were able to get a moment out of me being just like, I'm knocked out. My bandana is off.
It was completely off. I don't know why I picked it up and put it there. I don't know why I draped it there. But
it makes it so much funnier.
I didn't take it off your head, but it was no longer on your head.
I did not think that you took it off my head for a picture, but this is so funny.
This is our unhinged 1:53 a.m. review of A Haunting in Venice.
The first movie I fell asleep in since Smile.
Not the first. I feel like you've fallen asleep a few times.
No.
That was a year ago.
I know it's been a year, but...
That was a year ago to the day.
Are you kidding me?
I remember it specifically. It was September 30th.
It was a day, wasn't it?
Is September 30th a cursed day for horror movies for us?
At least for us, I'm pretty sure.
1 year ago on this day, Jayla fell asleep watching Smile, and she missed the ending, which was the best part.
No, I woke up during the ending.
Okay, so you saw the thing?
Yeah.
Okay. That thing at the end of the Smile is the best part of the Smile.
Smile. There was Smile and Woman King. Those were both cursed dates for us.
Well, you didn't fall asleep. That was we just didn't like that one.
We were just being a bit wacky.
We were the only ones in the theater for that one, and we weren't enjoying ourselves, and so we ended up chatting the whole time.
I'm kind of still crossing my fingers for a movie that we don't really care about, but also at the same time we're the only people in it.
Expendables?
Yeah.
Expendables on like an early afternoon.
Yeah.
That'll probably be an empty. I straight up do not care about that movie.
Me either.
I mean, I've told my mom, I will go see that with you if you want, because my mom loves action movies.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to watch the first 3.
There's just a very particular vibe that, I mean, maybe if you have a Cam in your life, there's a very particular vibe of a movie that's blah, but also the theater's empty, so it doesn't really matter.
Like, I hate people talking in the movie theater.
Yeah.
I will call them out sometimes.
He will.
I will ask them to be quiet.
It's part of the reason why I love him.
I don't do it often, and I've had to learn to choose my battles. But if it's just the two of us and we are just not vibing with the movie, which is fine because we don't buy individual movie tickets. We're not dropping $12 on every movie.
Yeah.
We'll just like goof off if we want.
I just feel like we haven't been able to goof off in the movie theater in a while.
Like when we have the whole room to ourselves
Cam will run around the room.
I will do a full lap around the room like a child.
And I never expect it for some reason, but also it's just great every time.
I guess I'll wrap up my Haunting in Venice thoughts. Are we gonna do any spoiler thoughts for Haunting in Venice?
Well, I really can't because the movie put me to fucking sleep.
The supernatural element of this movie is sort of questionable.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I'm still wondering if any sort of spiritual thing is actually going on there.
That's so interesting because I felt like this movie would give you a stronger answer.
Here's the thing about Hercule Poirot. At this juncture in these movies, he's an atheist, basically.
Okay.
He's got no faith, and he's cynical but kind.
Yeah.
Really identify with him a lot.
Yeah?
But he is dealing... I identified with him in... remember when we were watching Murder on the Orient Express?
Uh-huh.
And he's saying...
I am of an age where I know what I like and what I do not like. What I like or enjoy enormously. What I dislike, I cannot abide.
Which is a thing I feel really confident that you told me before I watched the movie.
That I definitely quoted that at you at one point or another because I definitely identify with that.
Which I admire about you.
Thank you. He's a funny, like, whimsical guy, but he's very serious.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
He's got personal values
Right.
still. I find him to be a really fun detective.
Yeah.
I like him more than Daniel Craig in Knives Out.
Oh, really?
Easily, yeah.
Oh, I think I like Daniel Craig more. I feel like he hasn't given me that whimsy like he did before. At least in this one. Daniel Craig is kind of like hectic in his own way.
Mm.
Because he knew the entire time what was up because he noticed the blood on her shoe. But he didn't say anything, he just like watched. Guys, I love Knives Out.
I loved it the first time I watched it.
I loved it the second time I watched it, so I'm a bit of a I'm not I have a soft spot for it.
I probably wouldn't enjoy rewatching all the Scream movies being whodunits. I think for me a whodunit can be a really good first time experience, and then beyond that.
So for me, my rule of thumb is a whodunit that's done really well is a whodunit that you can watch more than one time.
I will say Scream 1 I've watched multiple times.
Yes.
Great movie.
Absolutely. I think Scream 1 did it really well. I also think that Knives Out did it really well because you can watch it from a different perspective and it's like a new movie. The Prestige that Cam lovingly introduced me to.
Yeah, I mean that's not a whodunit.
It's not a whodunit, but
it's infinitely. I won't say infinitely, but I've seen that movie probably 10 times over 10 years.
It's just a perfect example of what I mean when I say like a movie that you can watch more than once and a movie that you can experience in two completely different ways.
Yeah, I was able to show Jayla Christopher Nolan's The Prestige for the first time.
Yeah.
This summer, and it was really fun to like watch her and not having any clue what was going to happen. And just wondering if she was going to pick up on certain things that are happening all along.
That's how I feel about Saw, but this Saw is not Saw as a franchise is not as great and amazing and thoughtful as Christopher Nolan, not even close.
Yeah, putting a pin in that for our upcoming Saw episode, but would you call it the big twist?
That is the big twist of Saw 1.
In Saw 1, there's a big twist in Saw 1, won't spoil it. I'm pretty sure I had heard it before. I'm pretty sure someone
spoiled. It was
spoiled.
in our guess movie based on the review thing.
I guess I have one last thought.
Go ahead.
There's a guy that looks like Poirot's friend Book from the first two movies.
He does, doesn't he?
And I forgot to check the credits in the end of this one and see if that was him because I feel like he looked different in the other two movies, so I wasn't even sure if it was him.
It fucking Insidious. We're like, oh shit, we should not have killed him. Fuck.
Did they kill Book in the second one?
Yeah, didn't they?
I don't remember.
Yes. No, they did kill him because he was going to tell him the reveal and he got shot in the neck.
Was that Book? I have to go back and look at that.
If not, it was Book Army Hammer or
no.
Okay, no, then it was him.
No, Book is the guy. That is the only guy that was in both of the first movies.
Yeah, he's dead.
Well, shit.
He's very dead.
turning it back to you, live Cam and Jayla.
That was a doozy, wasn't it, guys? We're not going to do spoiler thoughts on Haunting in Venice because that was it. That's all our thoughts. It was boring. I don't think we outright said that, but there was a point in the movie where I was thinking, okay, I'm not bored, but I think this is boring. And then by the end of the movie, I was quite bored myself, and 3 people in our row were asleep. So that's it. That's A Haunting in Venice. Kind of let me down a little bit. But now I'm here to talk about It Lives Inside. I'm going to do my non-spoiler segment first. So this is a movie about an Indian American girl named Sam, and she is dealing with a demon. And the demon is shame, probably cultural shame. Where do I even start with this? I usually have 3 other people to bounce off of. Okay, so this is a Neon release, which is a company like A24 where it's a more indie company who can do weirder stuff. It's an American production. It takes place in the US. Jayla did give me her notes for this, so I'm going to work with it a little bit. So this is partially her thoughts and then my interpretation of her thoughts. She thinks it's about feeling shame about your culture and wanting to strip that away to fit in. For example, early on in the movie, she's taking pictures of herself, putting filters on it to like lighten her skin. Next point. Good to see religious horror that isn't Catholic. Made us wish it was more fleshed out. Unsure about the rules of the monster. So Sam has this friend named Tamira, who was a childhood friend, and now they're slightly estranged, but they still go to school together. And she is also Indian American, and she's a little weird. She's kind of nurturing a little demon in a jar and feeding it raw meat. Jayla and I both felt that the characters were a little bit lacking in terms of being fleshed out. We don't really ever get to know Tamira very much or understand the dynamic between her and Sam. We just kind of get the idea that they used to be friends and now they're not really. There's a love interest for part of the movie. Basically, most of the characters, such as Sam's mom, exist to drive the plot forward. I think overall the movie was not as interesting as it could have been. I think it was sort of slow paced. I wouldn't say it was boring. I'd say visually it was pretty interesting. There is a visible form of the entity that we're dealing with that is visually pretty interesting. But other than that, I would say the story is sort of standard, and I would say the scares are kind of your usual fare, and there's not really a lot of them. Also, the volume was turned down at our theater, so there was that. But really, none of the scares got to me. I think a couple of them got Jayla, but it just wasn't loud enough for me to. And that's not the movie's fault. That was the theater's fault. I guess I will go ahead and get into the spoiler section. So, spoiler warning, you can click out if you don't want spoilers. So this monster that we're dealing with is called the Bashash, and it feeds on negativity, feeds on shame and anger and hate and everything bad. And the idea is that it has to be contained in some sort of vessel. Tamira initially has it contained in a jar. So it literally can just be contained in any sort of container. Like, she could be putting this in a Tupperware for all I know, but it goes after people who try to help you. And so there's a guidance counselor who's trying to help Sam. And at one point, it seems like she is maybe going to be consumed by the monster. Luckily, she wasn't. This was a point that Jayla was making. She didn't want the most positive character in the story to be taken down by this creature that feeds on negativity, and luckily they didn't do that. But by the end of the movie, they do what they've got to do, and they contain the Bashash within Sam. Sam becomes the vessel, and a year later, she's having to eat raw meat to feed this flesh-eating demon thing. Got to give props to the filmmakers for a sweater that Sam is wearing at one point. She's wearing an Ash Evil Dead sweater. It's pretty awesome. At first, we could only see the head, and it's like a silhouette, but Jayla and I were both like, that's that looks like Ashy Slashy. And then later on in the movie, it actually showed it full on, and we saw the chainsaw and the silhouette too. So, of course, we were very, very happy. I think the filmmakers were probably showing their influences in that. We love Evil Dead. Honestly, though, throughout this whole movie, I was thinking about Evil Dead already. I really missed that Evil Dead moment we had earlier this year with Evil Dead Rise, and for the past week or so, it's all I've really been thinking about. I know we talk about it so damn much, but it's really just, it's a great series, and I want to see them all on the big screen. Anyway, moving on. So they do this thing at the very end of the movie where it seems like everything is resolved and happy, and everyone's moving on with their life, and then the very last shot gives you that tinge of doubt in whether or not it's actually resolved, because the girl does have a demon living inside her now. But it seems, being a vessel, it seems to mean that everyone is safe. But then the last shot is on her face. She's got a little tear, and she looks kind of scared. Jayla and I didn't get a chance to actually expand on this, but it seemed like what she was trying to say is that she doesn't like it when they resolve a story and then just kind of pull back at the last moment. And I definitely agree with that. And in this case, it wasn't even particularly scary or compelling. It seemed like they just shoehorned that trope in right at the end, or at the very last minute. And I'm just not a fan of that particular trope. If it's resolved, let it be resolved. But you don't have to resolve it. I like a really good, bleak, dark ending in a horror movie. And they could have done that. That's not what they wanted to do. They did a sort of hopeful, optimistic ending until the very last shot. I don't know. I don't think they had to do that. But anyway, I am not having a good time doing this by myself. Anyway, thanks everyone for being here tonight. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube if you're not already, and ring the bell so you don't miss any live shows. And check us out on Twitter as well at Last Scare. That's going to be our handle for most of our social media. And what else? We have TikTok at Last Scare. We post clips sometimes promotional videos and other fun things. That's basically it. So just like Stu,
I'll be right back.